Is your practice tired of wrestling with insurance denials, deciphering EOBs, and watching your revenue slip through the cracks? You are not alone. Welcome to The Claim Game, the podcast designed to cut through the confusion and provide you with the best practices for revenue cycle management success. We are Jeremy and Kathryn Zug, and we've been with people just like you in the trenches. Each week, we'll break down complex billing processes, share real-world solutions from practices like yours, and ask questions of the game makers and changers of healthcare so you can take control of your revenue. Let's turn those claim denials into deposits and help you return to focusing on patient care. It's time to win the claim game.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Claim Game. As a reminder, we're going through the 6 territories or domains of billing, one territory at a time.
Yes, we are getting to the very end of the first territory, credentialing.
Last time around the table, we discussed the final initiation of the steps of credentialing, which is contract finalization and start date establishment. We covered the critical clauses to scrutinize in your contracts and why that effective start date is your real green light for billing.
That's right, Jeremy. If you missed that deep dive, be sure to check out our previous episode.
Today, we're moving to the final territory in our credentialing journey, stage 6, manage and review. And this is a critical stage that often gets overlooked once providers are finally in network.
Many think that credentialing is one and done, but it's really ongoing.
It is ongoing.
And neglecting this stage can lead to unexpected denials and even ejection from payer networks, which is exactly what we want to help you avoid.
And it's what you want to help you avoid as well.
Oh, yes.
We'll be talking about the best ways to conduct ongoing management and updates for your contracts, the ones that you're in network for. Those are the only kind of contracts. Ensuring you stay legitimate and profitable on the game board. So, Kathryn, why is managing and review a separate stage? Don't some providers just get a network and then they're all set, like for life? They're married?
Nope. They have terms, which usually means end terms. So it's a common misconception. Credentialing is absolutely not a one-time event. Although you think with all the work that it would be, that it would last longer. But once you're in network, you need to manage your credentialing status on an ongoing basis. Think of it like maintaining a car after you buy it. So obviously the cost at the front end of buying the car is way greater than the ongoing management. So there's less work, but you can't just drive it off the lot and never look under the hood again.
Yeah. So what does ongoing maintenance look like? What are some of the key things providers need to do regularly?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing, if you haven't heard these terms, are recredentialing or reattestation. Payers require this periodically, often every 2 to 3 years and sometimes annually. So it's essential that your information is still accurate and that you continue to meet their standards. So you have to kind of prove that periodically.
Right. Why is that important? What happens if you miss a reattestation?
It can be a really huge problem. Our game maker, Kathy Gilbert, actually emphasized this in episode 8. She said that if a provider doesn't respond to an update or validate their information, plans are required to take them out of the provider directory and could even disenroll them from the network. This is essentially getting ejected from the game board.
Yikes. So you could lose your network status simply by not reattesting. That's a humongous risk.
It is. And beyond formal reattestations, it also means keeping all of your information updated with them. This includes, outside of the reattestation period, this includes changes in address, changes to your services, any updates to your provider licenses.
Yeah, and where do providers manage all of this information? Is there a central place?
Your CAQH account is critical here. Yeah. Which is why setting it up properly with that admin is really a great first step. You should schedule time to review your CAQH information every 6 to 12 months, even if you think nothing has changed. Payers use CAQH as a primary source for your credentialing data.
Yeah, so even if you don't receive a credentialing email reminder, you should still check?
I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether you follow the CAQH prompts, which I think they have on a periodic schedule, or you just set them yourself at a more convenient time, you should be looking at it about twice a year.
Yeah. So, Kathryn, how do our tools, the credentialing application follow-up log, it's a lot of words, the insurance contact reference guide, and especially our favorite, the credentialing matrix, help providers avoid these pitfalls in the manage and review stage?
I think these tools are really indispensable here. Let's start with the insurance contact reference list. This is your long-term memory for each payer. So in the credentialing section of this guide, you should have noted any specific portals or phone numbers for updating your information. This becomes your go-to resource when it's time to review.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just for initial credentialing, but for maintaining that relationship.
Yes, that particular tool is very much your living cheat sheet. It ensures you know who to contact and what processes to follow for every update. For instance, if you change your practice address, you would know exactly which payers to notify and how based on your notes in this guide.
Yeah, what about the credentialing matrix? How does that support ongoing management and maintenance, especially for growing practices?
So the credentialing matrix is a game changer for stage 6 because this tool allows you to track the complete credentialing status for every provider in your practice for every finalized contract.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is that it gives you a bird's eye view, not just for individual providers, but for the entire practice. That sounds incredibly valuable.
It's very valuable, yes. For each provider, you'll record their in-network payers, their effective start dates, their NPI and taxonomy details for each contract, and crucially, their reattestation dates, which you'll find in the contract when you sign it. This way, you can proactively set reminders for upcoming reattestations, ensuring no one slips through the cracks. I would also say something that I have seen to be very valuable within the credentialing matrix is conditional formatting.
Yes. What is that? Explain what conditional formatting
So
is.
assuming that the credentialing matrix gets looked at on a regular basis by somebody in your practice, I would recommend on that reattestation date that you set some kind of warning for yourself. Maybe it's turning the text or the background red when it's within 30 days of reattestation or 60 days of reattestation. Something that will visually bring it to your attention. Warning, warning, warning.
That's right.
This date is coming up. It's very important that you don't miss it. It's not going to notify you via email, but there will be a visual indication.
What Kathryn's talking about is in a spreadsheet, whatever tool software you use, you can give the spreadsheet a rule that once a date hits, it turns the cell a different color and is like this alarm bell in your face. And it tells you when you need to do something and update the date. So it's just an internal check that you don't have to remember.
Yes. So the credentialing matrix is extremely valuable to avoiding disenrollment surprises. We've seen countless practices struggle because they thought a provider was credentialed or they knew that they used to be in network but had no clear record. And so the matrix eliminates that guesswork because let's say that the provider is right. They are in network.
Could be.
But the matrix is going to tell us how they're in network. And actually how they're in network really matters because if I'm in network with Cigna, but I'm in network with Cigna under a group information that lives across town.
Yeah.
That doesn't help me at all in this other practice. And so it's going to get those lines straight and clear.
Yeah, because one of the things that if you tell your biller, I'm credentialed, but you don't tell them exactly how, where, when you're credentialed, they don't have a magic back door to find that information.
Right. It's difficult to track down. And I would say too, I want to be clear that the credentialing matrix is meant to be the practice-wide glimpse of how everybody is credentialed within your practice. So if John Smith is credentialed with Cigna, but they're credentialed down the street, that does not get put on your credentialing
That's
matrix.
right. Yeah.
It's not relevant to you. It's relevant to him. And it's relevant when you're applying and doing a change form or you're applying under the network, under the group contract. But it's not relevant to your matrix because it doesn't say anything about your practice.
Yeah, so the matrix helps you catch potential issues before they become denials, and you can use that to quickly troubleshoot if they do. So what about the credentialing application follow-up log? Does that still play a role here when someone is in network?
It does, but a smaller role. Once a contract is finalized and moves into that manage and review stage 6 of credentialing, the main role of the follow-up log shifts. It might be used if you're submitting a change form to a payer, for example, if you're adding a new service or changing an existing provider's information, like if you do have to do a bunch of address changes or a last name change. Yeah, you'd put that back on. But there's no real ongoing use for it at this point once you're in network. Otherwise, its primary function is really just those new applications for new providers that will be coming into your practice.
Yeah, that's great. So in essence, these tools provide a systematic approach to what would otherwise be just like this chaotic, reactive Coke Mentos process.
Yes, we don't want that spraying Coke.
No, we don't.
We attempt to turn a daunting, ongoing administrative task into a manageable system, giving you peace of mind and protecting your practice's financial health.
Yeah, that's great.
This episode was brought to you by Practice Solutions. At Practice Solutions, we identify and apply the right billing solution for your unique practice, moving beyond a one-size-fits-all approach. This might look like our full-service, done-for-you billing, where you can take a hands-off stance, a practice health check to identify where you can optimize your RCM processes, or using our practical tools within the Hourglass Learning Hub. One of our billing solutions will help simplify the complexities of working with insurance payers so you can have peace of mind, consistent cash flow, and more time to focus on your clinical mission. Founded in 2017, Practice Solutions was built to alleviate the administrative burden for private practice owners by installing smarter billing systems. We believe your time is better spent with patients, not billing issues. If you're ready to stop stressing about billing and start loving your practice again, visit practicesoul.com today. That's practicesol.com. Mention the promo code TheClaimGame to get 15% off your first 3 invoices for done-for-you billing, 15% off your practice health check, or 15% off your first year in the Hourglass Learning Hub. Again, that's promo code TheClaimGame.
So, Kathryn, what are some of the most common pitfalls that you see practices fall into during this manage and review stage? And how can practices avoid them?
I mean, the biggest one, as we've highlighted, is that whole set it and forget it mentality. That a provider gets approved after this long, let's say you're running a marathon and you've been running and running and running, and the end of the marathon is the signing of that contract, and you assume, I just worked really hard. I'm really tired. I just crossed this finish line.
Knees hurt.
So you kind of just let your guard down at the end of that race. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I'm not ready to run. I'm not ready to do any more athletic events, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And so you just stop training altogether. Yeah. And you can take a break, certainly, but this can lead to those missed reattestation or to the insurance company having outdated information on file, which are direct routes to denials and even, again, the terminations from the network.
Yeah, so when you say proactive scheduling, what does that actually look like in a busy practice? How do providers carve out that time? They're tired, like you said. What exactly are they doing in those checkups?
Yeah, I mean, this is where I think that conditional formatting is really helpful on the credentialing matrix. However, I just think schedule time on your calendar quarterly or biannually, specifically to review your CAQH and update your credentialing matrix. I would even go as far as to tag someone in a task with a due date 30 days prior to that reattestation. For example, at Practice Solutions, we use Google Workspace for all of our processes. And I would add a comment with a task to a specific person to put it on their task list, even if it's 180 days in the future. So as soon as my credentialing matrix has that reattestation date, I'm tagging whoever would be responsible for that. Maybe it's an admin that does this for you. Maybe it's an admin that you tag so that admin can remind you. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Whatever your practice does, just tag the right person. Tag someone who will responsibly manage that task. That way it's already on an active to-do list, even if it is way down the road. So it would show up on my Google task list, or it would show up on my email for me to make a task. And even if, like, I have tasks for the new year already because we've had meetings and I've said, oh, I don't want to forget to do that. I'm going to remind myself in January.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. But if it's on your calendar that far in advance, you can margin it in.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and Jim Collins talks a lot about this in Good to Great, right? I mean, this is part of that disciplined thought, disciplined people, disciplined action mentality that really puts you ahead and rises above the rest of your peers for sure. What else should providers be wary of, Kathryn?
Another pitfall is not updating specific information promptly. Oh man, the number of times I have seen a practice move locations and forget to update that with the insurance
100.
company. Oh man, it's so often. And that's actually probably an excellent case study card because it happens so
often.
much. But I'm just going to bring this up now because I think our case study is about a different topic. But so many times we're dealing with angry providers and they're angry at us because they think that claims are denying because they're not getting payment. And then we learn that they moved location. They didn't tell us. They didn't tell the insurance companies. And so if they're getting paid by check instead of EFTA directly into their bank account, those checks are going to their old location and they're either not getting forwarded or they're getting super delayed. And it's a nightmare.
I have a really good one on this. I have a friend, not a client of ours, but a friend who asked me a question about this. And they were getting denials because there are two sites, but the two sites are one wall apart. They have two suites in the same building.
I remember this.
And they were getting denied claims. And she asked me, does it really matter which suite we file the claims under? And it does. It actually does matter. And so, that's one of those like simple errors that happens. And even though you're 10 feet from your colleagues, you still have to have the right location and be credentialed the right way and manage that process. And I know it seems frustrating, but insurance companies operate on precision. So, Kathryn, how do our tools help here?
So the other information outside of address that I would be looking to update promptly, last name changes, provider license number change. If you add a new service, the payer just needs to know that immediately because one, especially if you add a new service, they might be able to direct patients to you if that service is unique in your area or something along those lines. Again, I know this isn't the norm for people to think of the payer as their partner, but that is one of the value propositions that they're offering is that they're going to act as a partner. And so test the waters on that.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Sounds like consistency and meticulous record keeping are the superpowers of this stage, yeah?
Yeah, they absolutely are. It's really about protecting your hard-earned in-network status. Hard-earned. You ran a marathon, you've crossed the finish line, maintain that. Don't gain 40 pounds after you worked so hard to win this marathon or run it, not win it.
Oh, maybe you won it. Who knows?
Yeah, right. That's true.
Yeah.
So you just have to ensure continuous, smooth revenue flow by being consistent. So don't let your home base become a revolving door due to neglect.
Yeah, so Kathryn, we've walked through the journey of credentialing from picking your game partners to finally getting your contract finalized and that all important start date. Keep that in mind. It's a really detailed and lengthy process, yeah?
It really is, but by understanding each stage and staying as organized as you can humanly manage, which I said pretty much every episode at this point, you can navigate it successfully. Mastering credentialing and understanding your contracts is truly the final initiation to earning that game piece to enter the claim game.
That's great. Yeah, the whole process, this whole process ensures that your player piece is on the board. You gotta do this before you get on the board. And that you're legitimate in the eyes of the payer. Without it, your revenue cycle, your insurance billing simply can't begin. Health insurance and reimbursement do not have to be this elusive unicorn creature that you may fear or think it is.
Oh, I wouldn't be afraid of a unicorn. Maybe dragon.
Yeah, maybe a dragon. Sure. Sure. Yeah, because dragons sit on gold usually. Knowing these details give you peace of mind and control over your practice.
Yes, and now, Jeremy, it is time to draw our case study card. Today's card asks, do we have a case study of a practice that was ejected or almost ejected from the game board due to neglecting their ongoing credentialing management? What happened and how could it have been avoided?
Yeah, unfortunately, we have too many of these, but I'll give you a really teachable example. So we had this provider once This provider was a seasoned professional from the South. And everything was running smoothly with TRICARE right up until December of last year. And then, boom, TRICARE completely wiped this provider out of their system. And this has happened with TRICARE before. Their updates don't seem to go very well, but it's like this provider vanished into thin air. And this is the kind of thing that if you are a biller or you have a biller, this is the kind of thing that makes their blood run cold, because they know this is going to take a long time to fix it, and they know that this is bad news to deliver to the provider. So our team couldn't check claim status on the portals. They called TRICARE.
They got booted out of the portal?
Yeah.
That quickly?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so, they called TRICARE numerous times. We even had this provider on the phone with the payer. And this is where it gets really murky. TRICARE finally got this provider back in their system, but they got this provider listed as a point of contact instead of as a provider. So they're saying that this provider needs a supervisor to sign off on the claims, but that's not the kind of provider that this person is at all. They don't need a supervisor. And so there's a fundamental mischaracterization of what happened. And TRICARE's solution is to give this provider the runaround, new liaisons, new network contacts, and telling the provider to recredential.
Which they might need to.
Which they might, at this point, this provider might need to.
Might actually be quicker than working with these liaisons.
Yeah, for sure. And when we asked who did the initial credentialing, there was some confusion about where that initiated even. And so there was no, like Kathryn said, there was no organization around this process. And so this highlights exactly why understanding the nuances of credentialing management and recredentialing is crucial.
That's a really interesting point about the ongoing benefit of the credentialing application follow-up log too.
Yes.
Because I can go back and see who exactly
did the
credentialing.
That's right.
Yes.
And so this example is like your picture perfect example of a perfect storm of systemic issues colliding with a provider who's just trying to do right by the patients and is clearly overwhelmed by the bureaucracy. And it's unclear what the path out of the wilderness is. And I think, Kathryn, you're probably right. The solution is going back to square one. It's like trouble. You're going to go back
Unfortunately, yeah. Sometimes that is the quickest way. And that's a powerful reminder, Jeremy, of why proactive management is absolutely essential. We've talked about the how-to and the what-if scenarios of credentialing, but there is one final piece.
That's right.
We've talked about the 6 stages, but there's one final thing that we need to talk about in credentialing.
That's exactly right. So next time on the Claim Game podcast, we're bringing our credentialing series to a close by diving into something every practice owner needs to understand. All right, listen real closely. Key performance indicator.
Yes, and if you're using the tools that we've mentioned in this episode and in this series so far, tracking those gets really easy.
Yes, it does.
Because we're already tracking so much information. But get ready to optimize your practice's financial game as we introduce Mastering the Metrics, your credentialing KPI dashboard. We'll show you how to measure your credentialing success, spot potential issues before they become major problems, and truly take decisive control of your network territory. You won't want to miss it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
This is the Claim Game.
If you enjoyed today's episode of The Claim Game, please take a moment to leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. It really helps new listeners to find us. Make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to The Claim Game on your favorite podcast app. Your feedback means so much to us. We want to provide valuable education about revenue cycle management. So if there's something we didn't cover in our topic that was a burning question for you, please let us know so we can try to get you the information you desire. You can find the links to all resources we mentioned in this episode in the show notes. And if you want to dive deeper into our resources, we have 2 places you can do that. First, you can go to our blog at practicesol.com/blog, where we have 8 years of educational blogs. If you want to learn more about what Practice Solutions does, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Just go to practicesol.com to learn more and to connect with one of our awesome people on our team. Thanks for listening. We are Jeremy and Kathryn Zug, and this is The Claim Game. See you at the game table next time.